Hello, it's just David here with my weekly message. Now, the talk of the town, I know for the last couple of weeks, have been my glasses. So, you'll note here I have on here my glasses, or my new glasses. I know this is, as I say, a major talking point. So, for those who've missed it, what have been the story? Well, I always used to wear these glasses. There we are. And then one day I took them off and they became two pairs of glasses. Well, they didn't. They became two halves of a pair of glasses, which apparently can't be fixed. And they're quite old anyway, so slight prescription out of date. So then I had to wear my prescription cycling glasses, looking a bit like an extra from a U2 album. And then today, having waited for a couple of weeks, I picked up my new glasses. And as the optician said to me, this will move you from HD to 4K. I've got no idea what that means, but I said yes. Well, that'll be marvelous. But anyway, they're very good. As I say, I've just literally collected them from a shop. In fact, I waited to do this video because I thought I'll, wear some new glasses everybody can talk about. But actually, no, they're very good. I can see very clearly with them, so that's good. So it's commonly said, isn't it, that as a metaphor, that we see the world and we see God and we see life, etc., through certain lenses, through glasses, if you like. And what we mean by that is that we might see the world in a slightly different way from somebody else. We see, the world affairs through the lens of the BBC or the Daily Telegraph or the New Statement or the Spectator or whatever it is. And that's sort of certainly true. And I noticed, of course, when I was many years ago younger, unless you were kind of wanting to pay quite a lot of money, there wasn't much choice in glasses. You had those sort of national health specs, of which there were sort of two designs, and everybody knew that that was the case. But now, of course, you go to an optician. I don't know if you can get any national health glasses, whether that exists anymore, or whether you get vouchers or whatever. But we know generally most of us, buy our own glasses, and there's several hundred frames on display, and it's a bit like choosing a posh frock or something, or a best suit. It's a big decision. You spend a lot of time doing it. The person who's selling them to you talks about it quite a lot. And that's interesting because, of course, generally within kind of reason, the 100 or so different frames, or how many frames there are, don't sort of affect how you see. Obviously, they've got to be big enough to hold the sort of lens you need in place, so you can look out and it's all sort of correctly positioned. But basically, it's the lens that enables you to see. And of course, the best lens would be one where you don't notice that you're wearing it. You put it on and you see the world absolutely clearly. So I want to just sort of talk about then what's the equivalent then when we talk about, as I say, seeing life or God or the world or whatever it is through certain sets of glasses. And people say, my experience as a woman or a black person or a poor person or a gay person or whatever, that's different from perhaps my experience as a white male. And that's certainly true. Of course I know that I experience and I see, in a sense, a different world. And perhaps sometimes I'm rather thoughtless because I don't see the world or don't appreciate the world through other glasses. But I think there's a couple of things to be said about that. Firstly, that the idea in all of this is to see the world clearly. And with some of those debates, I think, in the end, what you're doing is concentrating too much, or it's almost like you're looking at the glasses, a bit like those 100 designer frames, going, does this look right? Does this look good? And in other words, you're concentrating on the experience of perhaps your your gender or your orientation or your class or something like that. And you're talking a lot about that. And what you're not talking about is the thing that you're trying to see, which is the world or economics or God or whatever. And of course, that's not really the idea of glasses. The idea of glasses is not to spend ages in the shop trying on different frames. I mean, try and get the frame right. But eventually what you want is glasses that you just don't notice when you're wearing them, that you see the world clearly through them. And so what we want to do is, yes, we want to look at those things. I ought to look at what it means to be a man, to be middle class, to be white, to be educated, whatever else I am, and to look at those things and to acknowledge them and think, well, do they mean that I see a world in a slightly different way? But then once I've sort of seen them and factored them in, to put them aside. I mean, I don't want to endlessly sort of think about, what does it mean to be a man? I want to think, actually, well, yeah, okay, I might see the world in a man's way, but, what is the world really like then? Taking that kind of filter, that lens out of the way, what would it be to see with really good, clear glasses? So I think that's the first thing, really, that we need to acknowledge what sort of glasses we're wearing, and then we need to kind of factor them in and any distortions they produce so that we see the world or we see God as clearly as possible. And then I think also, of course, the thing to remember is that everybody has their glasses. Nobody, whatever it is, whatever sort of thing we're talking about, everybody is an individual. Everybody belongs to, for instance, a class, a gender, a race, a profession, an experience, etc., which mean we see the world in a different, slightly different ways. There is nobody who's absolutely neutral. There's nobody who says, well, I'm not a man or a woman. I'm not rich or poor. I'm not sort of black or white, and therefore I can stand back and see it as it absolutely is. And the point is, everybody sees things through their own glasses. And therefore, perhaps the worst thing to say is that, or the most difficult sort of glasses to deal with are the almost those that you don't know you're wearing. So you think, I don't know, suppose you're a sort of very wealthy person, and you enjoy certain advantages in life, and you think, well, this is how everybody lives. Why doesn't everybody act like I act? And you see a poor person struggling, and you think, well, why aren't they living life like me? And of course, the answer is that they're in very different economic circumstances. So I think, that would be a case where, the rich person just didn't acknowledge the glasses that they were, and they weren't even aware that actually life is quite different if you've got lots of money from if you're, struggling to bring up your kids on benefit or something. And so, having a kind of an appreciation, well, actually, I might be doing quite well, I might be well off, but actually, yes, at least I acknowledge that makes life easier for me. And then perhaps when I'm, coming across or dealing with people who are struggling, to sort of, to kind of make that effort to kind of take your glasses off and see the world through theirs. So I think that's a kind of important thing to do as well. And I suppose that's sort of, there's that often quoted bit in Galatians, where Paul says, in Christ there is no Jew or Greek, male or female, etc., etc. It's a kind of often quoted passage, and often quoted quite well. I think the danger of quoting it is say if Paul's saying, well, in a sense, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish or whether you're Greek or male or female. Well, that's not true for Paul, because if you read the rest of Paul, he has definite views about the roles of males and females, which actually we might not agree with. And he has definite views about how it might be that Jews and Greeks see the world quite differently. So I don't think he's saying, there's no difference, don't worry about it. But he's saying, ultimately, the way Jesus sees us in Christ, he doesn't see Jew or Greek or male or female, slave or free, rich or poor, I suppose we'd translate as that. But, he sees past that or through that to the human being, if you like. So I think, as I say, we're all going around wearing glasses. I'm wearing my new glasses, slightly different from the glasses I was wearing last week. We're all going around wearing them. And I think the thing is just to kind of know what your glasses are. What are you looking through? What are the lenses you're seeing through? What things might give you a bit of a sort of biased opinion on the news or somebody's religious faith or the way somebody's acting or whatever. What might be the things that you think, oh right, yeah, well, perhaps that's just me from my position seeing something rather differently. So anyway, I hope you like new glasses. I mean, that's the main thing. And I hope you might just, think about how we ensure that we see the world and God and other people as clearly as we can. Thank you.